Okay, mi gente, welcome to the Monoplaza F1 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Emi Vetre, and today we're going to be covering, actually, I was going to cover the USA GP, the Austin Grand Prix, COTA, Circuit of the Americas. But it's been a while, and frankly, like we have already started talking about race week again, which is Mexico, CDMX. Uh, so yeah, I'm torn, right? So this episode again, because I don't have a guest. I promise you, I'm going to get some guests on here if you are watching. Although I was a guest on a podcast the other day, that was a lot of fun. So if you speak Spanish, go ahead and check out Entrando Pits podcast. Probably not a good look for me to be shouting out another podcast, but those guys really have a lot of fun over there. So yeah, check them out if you speak Spanish. Go ahead. Anyways, for this episode, I'm going to be talking about the USAGP a little bit, but I'm mostly going to be talking about I think what everybody else is talking about and what's on everybody's mind, which is the situation over at McLaren. So to recap, McLaren already won the constructors title, done and dusted. Right now, it is looking like, if it's not already, it's looking like it's a three-way battle between Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen. By the way, I'd like to go ahead and shout out myself for early on in the beginning of the year to remind y'all and say, underestimate Max Verstappen at your own peril. I said it many times, and I'll remind you again. Now, granted, it's not a very profound statement. Yeah, underestimate Max Verstappen at your own peril. But isn't it interesting the Laurent Mekies effect? Starting to listen to your driver and the inputs that they provide, rather than say, "Hey, the simulator is telling us one thing, and on track is doing something completely different. We should probably change that." But they didn't. Hey, shouts out Christian Horner, by the way. Anyways, so now it is a three-way battle between Oscar Piastri, who is leading the championship. Let me look right now because, frankly, I do not know the points total. I just know who's leading. If you know that, hey, shouts out to you. I don't know that, and I'm okay admitting that I don't know that. Anyways, Oscar has 346 points. Lando Norris behind him by 14 points has 332 points, and just 40 points behind with 306 is Max Verstappen. Oscar Piastri has not won a race since. Oof, yeah, let's look right now. If I go back and see that's how long it's been since Oscar Piastri has won a race. The last time Oscar Piastri won was in the Netherlands, and you can say that probably the reason that he won, it wasn't because Lando's car gave out, but it was definitely the last time that Oscar won. Following the Netherlands, you had issues in Italy where he finished in third. Azerbaijan, disaster weekend for Oscar, crashed out. No podium in Singapore. We started talking about papaya rules all over again. By the way, Singapore was another George Russell victory that everybody just casually ignored. It's the theme. I don't know when that's going to change. And then, of course, the United States Grand Prix, Oscar qualified P6. He was not able, he ended up finishing 1.4 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, but he was not able to get past Lewis Hamilton. He wasn't able to make up a position, so he started P6, ended in P5. But obviously, the disaster that was the sprint, where both him and Lando Norris crashed out, was not helping. And just like that, on the trot, Max Verstappen goes from sprint pole, sprint win, GP pole, GP win, and now 40 points behind him. So it's looking. Oh Lord, it's looking so dicey. It is looking so dicey. So yesterday I was asked, should McLaren go ahead and say, okay, we are going to go with this driver and we're going to put all our support behind this driver. And the response that I had to that is, no, it's too late. It's too late, dog. It is too freaking late. You want to do papaya rules all year. You want to say, hey, we're civilized over here. We just don't want to crash. And that's honestly at its base. That's all papaya rules is. You're not going to overtake somebody on the pits. JK, because they've done it a couple times. You're going to have to take your teammate over on track. And so that's how they've done it. They've done it all year. They prioritize Lando Norris at times where I felt that they should have been prioritizing the person who was leading the championship. Probably the only time, and shouts out to Vince for saying this, my friend Vince. He was saying that essentially the only time where it made sense for them to implement and follow papaya rules was in the first race of the year down in Australia. If y'all remember, it was raining. Oscar asked the team, "Hey, can I go after Lando? My pace is good. I feel fast." The team responded by saying, "Hey, Oscar, no. Team order, stay behind." And that completely made sense. We didn't know what the track condition. I mean, we did, but they were perilous. A lot of people were crashing out. Um, yeah, why risk it on the first race of the year? And ultimately, Oscar ended up wiping out. He did manage to get that car out of the grass and ended up finishing, I think it was P10 to start the season. So it was not good. Aside from that, the papaya rolls haven't really made sense. So again, I go back to the point that I was making. It's a little bit too late now to institute team or say this is our driver. This is driver number one. You're driver number two. They don't have two number twos. They have two drivers who are number ones, and to say you're the number one now and we're going to put our support behind you is going to be disastrous, right? But if I were going to put a driver or choose one over the other right now, just right now, remember, we always say you are as good as your last race. Formula One is that cutthroat of a sport. Right now, I would say the team needs to put all their money behind Lando Norris. I honestly, yeah, I know. I know. I can't believe I'm saying it. Yeah, okay, that's stupid. Oscar's leading the championship. The team should put their support behind the guy who's leading the championship. Yeah, I agree. Right now, and OP81 is my guy, multi-talented, super quick. Love him. There's no but coming, really. He's in his third year, something that we all have to remind ourselves, and he's still learning. But it feels like the pressure maybe has gotten to him. I know a lot was said from this podcast specifically, that, and it's not an original thought, that Oscar is a robot. Oscar has no emotions. Oscar, blah blah blah, this, that, and the third. Well, it turns out that Oscar, yeah, pressure can get to him also. Some unforced errors, and while he did great in Australia and the Oceania tracks, by the time we started getting to Europe, things started to swing towards Lando, and now we are in the North American Middle East leg of the tour. COTA obviously was not a good track for Oscar. A lot has been said about that. After that is Mexico. Last year he started. I don't know where he started, but he finished P8. After Mexico is Brazil. After Brazil is Vegas. After Vegas is Qatar. And then Abu Dhabi. No, the order is messed up. The order is super messed up. After Brazil is Qatar, then Vegas, then Abu Dhabi. Hey, we're just trying to reduce our carbon footprint here with Formula One. But in any case, um, for Oscar to secure this, he obviously has to win races. I know it's a super, super deep statement. He has to win races, but he has to hope that Max also doesn't win, right? What's coming up next is Mexico, a track that Max has the most wins at. Okay, cool. After Mexico is Brazil, a track that Max is really strong at, right? After Mexico, you go to Qatar. Maybe he has a chance in Qatar. After Qatar is Vegas. Vegas, they pick the dumbest time of the year to have a race in the Vegas desert. Okay, cool. If you're from the States, you understand why. Also, the times don't make any sense. That's a different thing for a different day. And who knows? In that Vegas race, Mercedes should be favored just based on the cool temps. After that, Red Bull. Okay. So yeah, right now Oscar's got to be banking on, hey, anybody but Verstappen, and I can't DNF, and I got to finish ahead of both him and Lando, and I'll be good. Okay, but I'm going back to the original egregious statement that I make. If the team, they shouldn't, because it's too late, but if the team were to decide, hey, we're gonna do a number one driver, they should put all their coins behind Lando, because I believe that Lando right now has the mental fortitude. Something switched, something flipped within Lando. He's just building, stacking good performance on good performance. Yes, COTA was dumb because he spent basically the entire race trying to overtake Leclerc and said that, this track is really difficult to overtake somebody on. Debate? No, it's not even debatable. Anyways, but it was a good showing for him, right? All he had to do was outperform his teammate. Obviously, the race before that, he did really well. In Singapore, he ended up on the podium when Oscar did not. Obviously, finished behind Verstappen, so that wasn't good for their championship title hopes, right? But what I'm saying is that, like, if you have a driver, if you want a driver that's got the confidence right now, then they should be banking on Lando. I truly hope that Oscar proves me wrong, because again, I'm OP81. Honestly, I'm OP81 and even LM4. I'm not really rooting for Verstappen to win. However, right now he seems inevitable. All right. You look at the United States, he won. You look at Azerbaijan, he won. You look at Italy, he won. Netherlands, P2, even if he did kind of lose his mind. And prior to that, it was he won in Italy. So Max owns Italy, basically, Emilia Romagna, as well as Monza. He won in Japan. So on the try, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4, 5 victories so far this year. I don't know. But McLaren is not going to do that. McLaren is not going to select a driver over another. And so here it is. The question now for me becomes, can Oscar pull himself out of this funk? I really hope so. He's got to have a strong showing in Mexico to keep this alive. He's got to have a strong showing. He's got to hope that Max does not win that race, which is crazy. McLaren won the constructors, and they just like, we're not. I mean, they said it even before the constructors. We're done upgrading this car. We're focused on next year, right? So Oscar and Lando are left to fight Max in a resurging Red Bull in a car that no longer has any upgrades. Okay, I'm not sure what message that's sending to anybody who eventually wants to go fight for McLaren or be on McLaren. Hey, your team only cares about the constructors. Once they get the constructors, good luck, pal. Yikes. And so we'll see. In a nutshell, that's really what happened in Austin. Obviously, the drama continues with McLaren, so we'll see what happens in Mexico. Obviously, um, I don't know what can be said. Moving on from the McLaren topic, I don't know what can be said about Max Verstappen. It's clear that he has the mental fortitude. It's clear that he's been here before, and it's clear that, again, if you decide to ignore him, do it at your own peril. And they've got more upgrades coming. It's almost like their 2026 car isn't really good, so they're just trying to say, hey, Max, remember all those times we won? Just sit tight, buddy. I know you've got 26, 27, and 28, but we promise. Yeah, so I don't know. Max has been incredible, honestly. And if he ends up winning this championship, hats off. Honestly, it would be one of, for me, the most impressive championship fights that I've ever seen. And I don't know what would be worse. Would it be worse that McLaren being up by so much in the WDC ended up losing, or that Max being down by so much in the WDC came back and pulled one out and won? And so we'll see, right? But up next, obviously, it's Mexico. Like I said earlier, is a track that favors Max. He's got the most victories there, I think, and so he'll be doing good. Austin. So talking a little bit about the race, right? And I'm moving kind of fast through this because, again, it's me, and I'm just trying to keep y'all's attention. By the way, if you haven't already, please comment, like, subscribe. It costs you nothing. If you watch this far, just go ahead and leave that comment, leave that like, leave that subscribe, anything. Yeah, it helps, obviously. For COTA, the weekend was a little bit crazy. I know I said I was kind of done talking about McLaren, but just one more note. Saturday was a little bit crazy. The sprint crash did not help Oscar, did not help Lando. Oscar kind of made a move. It was a little bit desperate. It was definitely a move that was made by somebody. It typically, I feel like, wouldn't be a move that someone who's leading the championship would make, right? But he made it anyways, and a lot of people are faulting him for the crash. Yesterday, it was said, or I was hearing somebody say that really the fault of the crash was Alonso. Alonso made that nosedive or that dive bomb from P6, went into that left corner, pinned Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg couldn't do anything. Oscar runs into Nico, so Oscar's out. Then goes bowling and inadvertently takes out his own teammate, right? They put that first. McLaren put that on Hulkenberg. Turns out it wasn't Hulkenberg. Then everyone's saying, like, yeah, it was Oscar's fault. But it turns out it's Alonso's fault. And Alonso, my man is done. He is done with the 2025 season. He said, my luck, just my luck. 2025 is flatline. On to 26. Hey, so we'll see. Maybe Adrian Newey will give you that rocket ship you so desire, and get that 33rd victory, because it's been 4,000 some odd days since the last time you won. But hey, who's counting? Certainly not your fans. Anyways, and so that was a bit of a misnomer. It allowed Max to get 8 points. George Russell with the sneaky P2. Carlos Sainz got a podium, another one for Williams. It's crazy. Sainz is now up on Albon in race head to heads, and I think he's catching up to him in quali head to heads. Um, my original at the beginning of the year was that Carlos Sainz was going to baptize or dunk on Alex Albon all season. Turns out that wasn't necessarily the case, so I retracted and I apologized to Alex, my bad. But it turns out that Sainz is now getting used to the car, and so he's starting to do a lot better. So he got that P3. My question once again is, he had a P3 podium, so that's his second podium with Williams, but it counts, but it doesn't count. It's so weird. So weird. I hate sprints. Like, do they count towards the right? Because it's just as difficult to get pole for a sprint, so why don't we count those as poles? And it's a short race, obviously, so why don't we count those as wins? We give out points for them. It's dumb. It's so dumb. Anyways, congratulations to Carlos Sainz. It's also a great showing for Yuki Tsunoda, who went from P18, I think, to like P7. So that, I don't know, sprint race, it was full of drama, but missed me with them. All right. And then what else? For that race itself, um, we had a couple, we had a Carlos Sainz DNF. It happens every time I put Carlos Sainz on my fantasy team. He always DNFs. So I'm probably gonna have to say goodbye to him. I'll pay the fine and get him out. I'll put somebody who's got better luck. I don't know, man. It's hard out here in these streets. Anyways, and so doing that. Signs was out. Antonelli almost got taken out. Ollie Behrman tried to take out Yuki, or Yuki tried to take out Ollie. I don't know. Ended up getting penalized for it. Still finished in the points. Okay, great, cool. We had Charles Leclerc had an amazing race. Max had an amazing race. Lando incredibly got P2. Lewis had a really good race, ended up finishing in P4. It's been noticeable that he's finally getting accustomed to that car. So we'll see how it is next year in the regulations. I know in the quali head to head, it's obviously Leclerc. He just went berserk on that. That being said, the times are getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and now it's pretty consistent that at least in when it doesn't matter. So Q1 and Q2, Lewis will post a time that's faster than Charles, but then when it comes down to it, Charles always ends up getting uh, usually the quality time that's faster than Lewis. But it doesn't matter. It looks like he's getting comfortable. Finally, like for me, like the last thing about that race that was interesting towards the end of the race, you have a Franco Colapinto and a Pierre Gasly. Gasly, who was 17th, and Colapinto, who's in 18th, clearly out of the points. Gasly with a contract, Colapinto without a contract. He's got fresher tires than Gasly with a Bortoleto behind him. Team tells him, hey, nope, you got to stay behind Gasly. Colapinto, why? Why do I got to stay behind Gasly? He's slow. So, disobeying team orders, he ended up passing Pierre Gasly. And apparently that's like super controversial. Supposedly the team was testing him to see if he could follow team orders, but that's so dumb. That's lame and that's dumb. First of all, you're not fighting for any points. So if Colapinto's got some pace, let him use it. Obviously, the teams look at all the timesheets, but at the end of the day, when we see the stats, it just says, "Oh, Colapinto finished P18, Gasly finished P17, but Gasly got the head-to-head." It doesn't record team orders, right? It doesn't say the full story. I mean, teams know who's fast. Teams know if a driver's just slow or if it's just a car, right? So honestly, I applaud Franco for passing Pierre Gasly on that. Honestly, in the last 3 out of the 4 races, he'd out qualified Gasly. He's starting to improve, but guess what? He still doesn't have a contract. He's got to fight for it. It was not controversial for me, but apparently for Alpine, it was like, oh, we're very disappointed. You'll be all right, I promise. But it is rumored that this weekend, or probably Brazil, I think it's going to be Brazil, Colapinto's contract extension is going to get announced. So we'll see. Next year, he'll most likely still be in Alpine, driving a Mercedes engine in the Alpine with new set of regulations, right? So I don't know. we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was Austin in a nutshell. More or less, it's still a good track. But these regulations, I'm so happy. Only like 5 more races left in these regulations. I'm over it. The tires don't wear out. So instead of a 2-stopper, you got a 1-stopper, which is wild. The dirty air that's generated by these cars makes it really hard to overtake. So it feels like the only time you're really passing people is when you've got like a crazy tire advantage over somebody, or you start in front of them and you've been able to qualify them. But like getting close to the car and being able to pass another car has not proven super easy unless you're driving the RB19 or the earlier version, pre-summer break version of this year's McLaren, right? Um, so I'll be super happy when this is over. But aside from that, like, I gotta be real with y'all, keep it a bean. It was not like the most exciting race. I have said that a lot about a lot of races this year, and I think I finally figured out that the reason these races are boring to me is because the overtakes, and the fact that the cars, they were meant for, these regulations were meant for people to get close to each other and be able to overtake. That's not happening. We got all these. Oh, it's impossible to pass in Singapore. It's not impossible. Cars are big and these regulations suck. Oh, it's going to be a 2-stopper, says Pirelli. Oh, dang. Lando Norris was able to do a 1-stopper in a race. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, Charles Leclerc was able to start COTA on the softs and make that work for about 20 plus some odd laps. What? That's crazy. Right? Anyways, so we'll see. Right, and so now we are on to Mexico. Is probably one of the weirdest tracks for me. It's not like super exciting, but it is a track that I thoroughly enjoy. Also, it's just like cool to see all the stuff that they got going on, all the heritage and everything. And yeah, what's not to love? It's Mexico, please. So lots to look forward to. I'm not going to do a preview because I never do a preview for the track. Um, I will see. Obviously, it's not a sprint weekend; it's a regular weekend. A lot of people are going to be sitting out FP1 because we got some drivers coming in. I think we got 4. The one I'm going to be watching out for is Lindblad, who's going to be testing Red Bull, or not testing. He's going to be driving during FP1, the Red Bull, and so we'll see how that is. Obviously, it's rumored that he's going to be in that Red Bull, not Red Bull, but he's going to be in F1 next year, and it's going to be either Yuki or Liam out. My money's on Yuki, unfortunately, with Isaac getting the nod to go to the Red Bull team and Lindblad starting in the Racing Bulls team. So we'll see. But yeah, that is it. It's a short one, y'all. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say that's been said, or that hasn't been said. We're winding down towards the end of the season. So really the thing to look out for is obviously the title fight between those 3 that I mentioned in the beginning. I feel like after this weekend, if Max wins it, put me in the camp 100% that he's going to end up winning the Drivers' Championship. You hate to see it if you're not a fan of Verstappen like myself, but you got to respect it because it was a crazy comeback if he's able to pull this off, and I don't think it's impossible for him to pull it off. So hats off to him. Anyways, that is it. Once again, if you have made it this far and you're still here with me, please, please, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Don't forget to share this too, please. Tell your tios, your tias, your mommies, your papis, abuelos, abuelas, vecinos. That's neighbors. If you don't speak Spanish, for the Monoplaza F1 podcast, this is Emilio Tre. Peace.